Okay, just give me a minute. We'll start. Right, mic check. So good morning, good evening, everyone. My name is Trainer VSR. I would be taking you through this HANA introduction for HANA administration on S/4HANA. So before we start, we'll be having a brief intro about my profile and the course content, and then we'll take you through the what is SAP HANA, what is in-memory database, who can learn HANA, and what are the job prospects, or people who are already working on SAP, how they can upskill by learning HANA administration. So during this session, you'll be on mute, and if you have any questions, you can post it or you can raise a hand so that the coordinator would be able to unmute you and you can ask the questions. But I'll be asking for questions in between. Maybe then we can have a question and answer sessions. So I would be called as trainers VSR, Sudhakar Rao. This is about my profile in short. I have total 15 years of experience in.
Anyone on this call? I can't hear anything.
We can hear you. How about this?
I'm able to hear you, Sudhakar.
Okay, great. Okay, fine. Yeah, just please check your mic settings or anything. See, during my experience, I've been working for past 15 years, and I played various roles as a consultant, lead, and program manager. I'm currently working as a technology head for an MNC, where I worked more than 50 plus projects altogether in SAP as well as SAP HANA projects, which includes end-to-end implementations, which includes HANA migrations, upgrades, and S/4HANA implementations. I'm certified in PMP, I'm certified in HANA, I'm certified in Fiori, I'm certified in system conversion, I'm certified in AWS and Microsoft. So this is about my profile in short, and I'm also a trainer with various leading training institutes. And I've been into the training for past close to 9 years now, and I've trained more than 600 plus students online, and I have delivered trainings for corporates like Wipro, Logika, CMG, Infosys in India and abroad. This is about my profile. These are the list of the certifications I have covered. It's about my profile, and yeah. Let's quickly get into the topics. The list of the topics for HANA administration, which most of you are curious about. So this content has been handpicked, and this is these topics are selected from the standard HANA Tech 16 certification material. We have about 150 plus topics in it. And yeah, these are the topics. Hope you can see these are the niche topics. We'll be doing a live installation with the HANA 1.0 with root to user access. It's just not GUI access. It is basically access with the root user with admin controls, where I'll be showing the installation of HANA, and you will be performing a named instance on your name. Like you'll be doing whatever practicals I'll be doing, you'll be performing those. Initially, we'll start with HANA 1.0, then we'll upgrade it to 2.0 as we do in a real-time environment. And live cockpit installation. The cockpit is a niche tool now, which is used for tenant database administration. The tenant, multi-tenant database concepts, uninstallation process, the sizing, what is suit on HANA, what is suit for HANA. These are the quite important topics, which are basically designed based on the job market needs. And also what tools you use. When you use SWPM, when you use some tool, how do you do the ODBC, JDBC connections for integrations? What is SLT setup? How to go about the certification and certification material. These are the certification materials. It's 100, 200, 215. The certification material would be provided. And in live, we'll be showing with the live SAP Marketplace credentials, how you download the software, how you install the license keys and all. And these are the topics of HA201, which talks about high availability DR setup and all. And HA201 for the installation preparations and all. And HA215, which is newly included with Tech 16 with the monitoring tools and administration, how you perform monitoring, how you troubleshoot in when the system is completely down and we are not able to log into database, how you get the details from the OS level and all. And HA240 talks about HANA security, and HA250 precisely about the migration and optimization. So like this, all areas would be covered, and you would, by the end of this course, like you'll be in a position to work on any HANA project, whether it is implementation, support, or migration. And additionally, we'll be dealing with the sizing concepts, which is very critical and which is very essential in the job market to work on HANA implementation and migration projects, which is basically done by 10 plus years of experience candidates who are in a solution architect role. But we'll be covering that based on my experience, and my experiences would be shared how to go about it and where it is necessary and why it is necessary. And we'll be seeing the cockpit tool installation, the tenant database administration in live. We'll be installing a cockpit tool and we'll be creating and administering the tenant databases. Live server access. The best part is we are the only institute who would be providing the live server access. So everybody else, like outside, whatever comparisons you may have, this is like a just GUI access. You will not be given a complete control of the HANA instance or host where you can perform installation and upgrade. Here you will have a complete control on the host, the same way as you do in a real-time environment. So by the end of this course, you will have a complete exposure of installations and administration, which will make your which will give you a good experience and exposure to the live environment where you feel comfortable in facing interviews or getting into the HANA job market. And apart from this, the tools that I was mentioning, SWPM and some DMO, these are the ones which are basically used to do these migrations and installations, which is basically part of basis. We'll be additionally covering those as well. These topics would be 70% practicals and 30% theory, only these specific topics, because of the migration keys and license key limitations. Rest all would be 100% practicals. And materials and all will be given. And post course completion guidance, resume building, interview questions, direct approach to the trainer, that is to me, would be there even after the completion of the course. And I'll be taking care of your practicals. You'll be directly coordinating with me for installations and practicals. So let's get into the introduction part. Why SAP HANA was developed by SAP? So we all know SAP is a global #1 ERP company, which is leading as a global leader for more than 40 plus years, precisely close to 50 plus now. And it is still standing as a global leader. Like if you look at 100 companies, 100 customers across the globe who are using ERP as a software, enterprise resource planning as a software, out of them you will find 75 customers using SAP as their ERP. Why it is, and standing as a global leader for past 40 plus years is not a joke. Why? What are the reasons for its success? Because SAP is the only ERP, like we have Microsoft Dynamics ERP, we have Oracle ERP, and we have many other ERPs. But why only SAP as a global leader? Because it supports all hardware, runs on all available databases, supports for all operating systems and DB issues. Then what made SAP come up now with its own database called HANA, its own hardware called HANA. HANA is basically a combination of hardware and database together. And why SAP is planning to stop the support for these third-party hardware, database, and OS. See, HANA is in-memory database. These things everybody know these days. Like, by the time you come for this course, you might have done your groundwork from Google. Google teaches everything. But these are the things which we don't know. I was closely associated with SAP. I worked with SAP Labs as a trainer, as a on-demand support consultant. And even I've been working on HANA precisely from its inception. So let me share these things which are not known to the outside world. The global #1 ERP, these are the stats to prove it. It's still recent report in 2019 of July. It's still ranked as #1 ERP. Okay. And these are the different hardware architecture: 86_64 IBM, HP, Oracle, SunSpark machines, AS400. These are different operating systems, and these are different databases. And this hardware platform is called Intel, and it's called IBM Power Machines. HP Tanium is called HP Tanium hardware architecture. So SAP can be deployed on all these hardware combinations. And you might be shocked, like, do we have these many hardware combinations? Yes, we do have these many hardware combinations. And SAP can be, a product can be deployed in all this. And just imagine the efforts of SAP team to making it compatible to work on multiple operating systems and multiple databases. So these are all good so far, but why? The question again comes, then why SAP HANA has to come up with its own database? So basically, in this process of supporting all databases, all operating systems, it has become so tedious that they are not in a position to handle it anymore. And most of these hardware, databases, operating systems, they all have their own ERP, and they are not giving a proper support to SAP. Any SAP application performance issues related to SAP application, SAP was able to resolve them. But the dependent operating system, hardware, or databases support was not there. And SAP was spending a lot of time and money and resources in developing a solution for this dependent hardware OS and database combinations. And online SAP support, you might have seen like who are coming from SAP background, SAP support. Any issue you have, you primarily raise it to SAP support, you get a preliminary solution from them. So these multiple old hardware architectures, old DB architectures again, they're not designed or upgraded to use new CPU parallel processing capabilities. Like new CPUs come with 8 cores, 10 cores, 20 cores. Like they come with the 20, 30 people manpower, and it still uses of delegating the work for one CPU at a time. Like for example, you are getting a work done, 30 resources, 30 people were given to work under you, and you are making them stand in a line, and you are giving work for one person after the other. You are asking one person to, you are delegating a work to one person, you're asking him to finish it and come back and go back and stand in the line. Then you will give the next person. Parallel processing capabilities is something like when you were given 30 people, you will break the work into 30 pieces and you will make 30 people work in parallel together. So these parallel processing capabilities are not used by old architectures, like older databases like Oracle, MS SQL in conjunction with SAP. But with HANA, these parallel processing capabilities can be used. So these are the basic points, like why SAP has to come up with in-memory database. What made SAP to come up and design its own DB. So 80% of support staff of SAP supports third-party operating system database hardware issues screening for SAP customers. And SAP customers are getting troubled, and SAP is getting troubled because of this third-party operating system. And all these expenses and all this nuisance can be eliminated now. Yeah, parallel processing of work distribution, making use of the CPUs, CPU cores. Like now the CPUs come with 8 cores and 4 cores or octa cores. Like the HANA CPUs come with the 32 cores. Like it will access 32 CPUs. Even if you give these 32 CPUs to work with normal DBs or normal applications, they'll not be using all 32 cores capability available. They'll still treat the hardware as if it has only one CPU at a time. Because these old hardware architectures and DB architectures were not redesigned to make use of new hardware technologies. That's one drawback. And that's where SAP was getting into trouble. And all this can be eliminated with in-memory database, as HANA runs on its own database, its own SAP application, and its own SUSE Linux. So this is the reason why after 2027, SAP will not support SAP applications running on third-party databases or operating system. We will see in precise. So this was the amount of expenditure spent by SAP over the past years, only on research and development. So 4,25,000 customers are there of SAP globally, and in this, only a 13,000 customers have migrated. Only 12,000 customers have migrated into S/4HANA. Okay, and there are still 4 lakh customers. In the sense, not even 3 to 5% of customers have migrated to HANA. So rest all these customers, they will migrate to HANA. Initially, it has given a down timeline up to 2021, but due to some issues from customers and requests from certain government organizations using SAP, they have extended it till 2027. So who all can learn HANA? So when these 4 lakh customers have to be migrated towards HANA, we need HANA admins to migrate these SAP applications running on SQL, Oracle, DB2, DB6, all third-party databases, operating systems onto HANA database. Okay. So who all can learn? Any DB administrator, like Hadoop admin, SQL admin, Oracle admin, any DB admin, any SAP basis admin. A basis admin is a technical administrator of SAP applications, any Unix or operating system admin, freshers towards application administration. So basically, this is not a coding course. It is not a development. It doesn't involve coding a lot. It is typically an administration module. Any person who is passionate towards administration can learn this. So HANA is a solution for in-memory computing. The acronym HANA stands for High Performance Analytic Appliance. And just like above, the 90% of HANA coding is written in C++. And business users of all levels are empowered to conduct immediate ad hoc data analysis and transaction processing using massive amounts of real-time data for expanded business insight. See, this is the clause here. Just see what is this? Real-time data for expanded business insight. It says conduct immediate ad hoc data analysis and transaction processing using massive amounts of real-time data for expanded business insight. We'll see an example here. Can you see my Excel sheet? Okay, good. So let's say we have an SAP ERP system like running on some third-party database. So from now on, I will say some third-party database. I won't take names like Oracle, MS SQL, Hadoop, DB2. So SAP, the old SAP ERP system is running on some Oracle or some third-party database. We have some 200 GB DB size, and it's a typical server running with a 20 GB RAM on with 4 to 8 cores of CPU. And I have a requirement where I need to run a transaction where it needs to read the entire database, or where it has to transact to read the entire database of 200 GB. And when we give that instruction, the 20 GB data is loaded into the in-memory, and the data is processed. And once it crosses 20 GB, the memory is completely utilized, because whenever a transaction comes, it comes from CPU to the memory, and in the memory, it will read and hold the data in the memory cache, and it will process the data and give it back. But when it is giving more, when it is consumed of taking 20 GB, what it will do? It will get terminated, because there are no more resources available in the system to process the huge pile of data processing job that is given to it. So basically, get in SAP basis, people from basis background, they may understand this. We get a typical dump error like TSV memory page allocation failed or page memory not found in the system. Because typically these errors are coming because after certain transactioning to the certain limit, once it exceeds the memory available on the server, the physical memory available on the server, the transaction is getting terminated. So what is the solution for this? What we do is we break up the job into pieces. We make this 20 GB into 200 GB into 10 parts, and we process 20 GB at a time. And during this processing, if the entire 20 GB is utilized by this background job or this particular transaction, what about other users who are logged into the system? Obviously, they'll not be able to log in or they'll not be able to get any resources. So we schedule these jobs to run in the off-peak hours. The peak hours for any application is basically 9 to 5 window. Peak load hours is the morning sessions, 9 to 10, 9 to 11, where people rush into the office and once they open the systems and they keep logging into the system at a time. And before the logout, 4 to 5 or 4 to 6. So peak hours and non-peak hours, peak hour. So we schedule these kind of jobs in the evening after 6 o'clock till next day morning 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. So these jobs gets job processed. 20 GB job gets processed every 1 hour. Like 10 jobs into 20 GB, 200 GB data has to be processed. It will take 10 hours to get the data back. If I need something which needs, churning all the database or the entire database, I have to wait for 10 hours minimum. I won't get the data immediately. So for this, the solution was, why can't we have memory? This is all happening because of memory. Why can't we have memory equal to that of DB size? This 200 GB is a DB size. Why can't we put 200 GB of RAM? So this was the thought process by the HANA scientists, and it gave a birth for IMCE, in-memory computing engine, where the RAM will be equal to that of your DB size. If your DB is 200 GB, your RAM will also be 200 GB, and you'll have a good number of CPUs equal to that of your RAM, so that there are no physical resource limitations on the server. So with this, what happens is, when the entire memory is loaded into the memory, there is no cache, there is no memory outage. The actual problem is with the memory limitation. When I am giving surplus memory equal to that or more than DB size, it cannot exceed, it cannot get page out or memory out error. And this process of data, where it was taking 10 hours here, it was getting completed within 1 minute to 3 minutes with the max. And this kind of processing the data, not by 10 hours, but within minutes, immediately is called as real-time transaction processing. Real-time data processing, massive amounts of transactional data in real time. So any doubts on this so far till here, you may please ask now, and we'll again proceed. Any doubts? You can unmute and.
Hi, Sudhakar. This is Adi. Yeah, I think I'm good. So if anyone have other doubts, so they can come.
Okay. Yeah, Mehul, you raise your hand. Yes, please. You have a doubt? Kanna Kumar, if he needs to maintain that much, 1 second. Yeah, there's a question in the chat box. That will be cost more, right? Yes, it used to cost more, but there is a solution for it. SAP HANA has developed their own hardware. We are going to see that in the coming session now, post this discussion. Okay. Okay, good then. Let's continue. See, yes, cache memory is placed before processing. We need more amounts of memory. Agreed. So for this, SAP HANA has come up with its own in-memory processing capabilities. So basically, HANA stands for a combination of hardware and software together. And I said, like, this in-memory computing engine is a thought process of SAP team. And the actual name of HANA is IMCE, in-memory computing engine. So SAP scientists decided, okay, the solution for this is we need to have memory equal to that of this DB size. And initially they wanted to have a database or a server with a minimum 500 GB of RAM. And none of the hardware service providers were ready to accommodate this. None of the hardware service providers were ready to accommodate this request. And they were laughing at SAP. How come 500 GB of RAM can be made? And are you people out of mind, or are you people mad? How is this really possible? Because by then the highest capable, the highest high-end server was of HP. It was called as HP Superdome before HANA. It used to come with some 98 GB of memory. That was highest. And SAP HANA team was looking at a server, which comes with a minimum of 512 GB of memory. And they were laughing at it, and none of the hardware providers like IBM, HP, Fujitsu, Dell, none of them were ready to design a hardware for this team. So they cannot back out from this project. So they had a challenge of suitable hardware. So they developed their own hardware. SAP has invested so much money and they have developed their own hardware, and that hardware is called as HANA appliance. On top of HANA appliance, they have used SUSE Linux open source operating system to develop HANA DB. So it's a combination of hardware and software together. An appliance for processing high volumes of transactional data in real time, includes tools for data modeling, data lifecycle management, and provides support for multiple interfaces. Let's see this. It has developed its own hardware. So initially, now it is coming in a single blade. In the initial days, it was with multiple blade servers, like multiple pieces of server components. One motherboard full of RAM sticks, one motherboard full of CPUs, and one motherboard full of disk space and storage kind of. And that's how they developed the HANA hardware, and they have patented it as SAP HANA hardware and HANA appliance. On top of that HANA hardware, they have used open source operating system SUSE Linux. And top of SUSE, they have developed the HANA database. And this HANA database used with SAP products. After developing this HANA hardware, they do not want to get into hardware supply and support. They have given this support for outsource this to the patented vendors like IBM, HP, whatever they are providing the certified appliance. They are just manufacturing the hardware on recommendations of SAP, and they'll be paying a loyalty share to SAP. And whenever SAP says like they have to do some changes in the hardware, they have to do, and they have to sell according to the terms and conditions of SAP HANA. So like this, it has complete control on HANA hardware now, operating system, SUSE Linux, and database, and also applications. And the technology innovations. HANA hardware supports multi-core architecture up to 32 CPUs with 28 cores per CPU. I mean, up to 32 physical CPUs, and each physical CPU supporting up to 28 cores. So that is 30 into 20. How much? Close to 600 cores, 600 virtual CPUs per server, and it can go up to 4 to 24 terabytes of memory. 64-bit address space, like same 64-bit platform, 24 terabytes in current servers, Intel Optane, and DC persistent memory. Persistence memory in the sense the physical memory that can be accommodated in the servers. And the normal databases, they support either row store or column store. but they do not support both. Like for that very reason, we use a separate instance for analytics called BW or business objects. But with HANA, we use column store for analytics. We use a separate instance. But now with S4 HANA, we are not using any separate BW instance anymore. The reports and the transactions are coming in S4 itself, the standard reports. So we'll see precisely what is row store, column store as we progress in the coming sessions. And the compression factor. SAP provides 70% of compression factor. Like if you're migrating any SAP application running an Oracle with 1000 GB of DB size, if you migrate it onto HANA, it will come down to 300 GB. And this was another big advantage for customers who are running with 8 terabytes, 7 terabytes of sizes of databases. The partitioning, like in Oracle, you see this indexing, DB reorg, and Oracle, MS SQL, and all. You have to do the regular maintenance on every 6 months. If you don't do this indexing, DB reorg jobs on a periodic basis, the DB size keeps bloating. It keeps increasing. Okay, you don't have to do that. That will be automatically taken care by HANA because no aggregate tables, insert only delta mechanism. We'll see all these topics each one by one in the architecture, how this actually works, how this compression happens, what is the classical database approach, and what is the latest HANA DB approach. Okay, and because this precisely will have the in-depth classes on the architecture, because this gives us a deep insight in understanding towards HANA. HANA is just not a database or a hardware combination, but it is a next generation database, which has no way, we cannot really compare it with a normal database because the approach and the data processing, everything is different in HANA. See, in the past, we used to have this much big DB size and the load, we used to get this much big DB size and load coming from a bottle, but the input and output, the processing of the data used to be done only through the opener of a bottleneck, where it used to create performance issues. This was cracked down by in-memory database, making use of multi-core architecture of CPUs, having multiple CPUs instead of single CPU and single memory, having placing the sufficient memory in picture, which has given a way for all this advantages of row store, column store, partitioning, compression, and insert only delta mechanism. The way the data goes and sits into the database during the insertion, during the updation, is pretty well defined, and it has enough resources of CPU and memory to handle this additional jobs, so that the DB need not go through the normal cycles of this DB reorg, archiving, and all these things. It gets compressed while saving itself. It partitions the data in a proper stipulated format as designed in the DB architecture at the time when it is getting saved only, so that you don't have to revisit it back and rearrange the DB org tables. And everything this happens in the in-memory, and at the bottom level you'll have logging and backup at a disk level here. The CPU, the data processing in a row store and in a column store. So basically, OLTP and OLAP it is called. We'll see this in short. We'll touch bases in detail. See the data where the data updation is needed, it is called OLTP. And at the place where the data has to be read for analytics purpose only, it is called OLAP, Online Analytical Processing Systems. The two types of databases in DB are RDBMS, OLTP and OLAP. OLTP is transaction processing. OLAP is called analytical processing. And precisely all SAP applications are OLTP, like where the data updation is required on a day-to-day basis, where the data gets updated in a row format like this. And Analytical is something where the data is read. And wherever the updations happen, it will update the multiple fields A, B, C, D, E, F, G like this in a single format, and it's in a single row. Once you give save, it gets updated and within seconds. And when it has to be read, it has to sit in a column store format like this. See here, this is the data updation in a row like this. And when you want to read, it should be in A. So in HANA, it will sit in row as well as in the column, the selected things. But earlier older databases, they used to use two different DB instances for saving in data in a roster and column store format separately. Because the older databases were not compatible to do that. So they used to store the data randomly like this, A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G, and it stores only in the row or in the column, not both. Here in HANA, you can see this data is stored like this, but it has segregated data in a proper way. All the columnar stored, all the similar set of data is sitting at one side, A is sitting at one side, B is sitting at one side like this. If you have to search, select as A, C from table A, it is selecting A and C, but it is also reading B, B, and D in the row store like this. But if I do it in a linear search in the column, it reads only A, C, C. There is no duplication of data. So we'll see this in detail. So this is one more big advantage with the HANA database, about the row store and column store coming in a single DB. Like this, we have many advantages. With these all changes and advantages in the architecture, the reports running on HANA, like bots reports running on third-party databases, third-party small hardware, compared to reports running on HANA, were running 3,600 times faster, and 460 billion records were analyzed in less than a second. And this is in 2012 proof points when HANA was used as a backend database for analytics only. Initially, it was not entertained by the customers to directly run on ERP because they were confused, they were not ready, like they were not believing it. In memory, will it really run in memory? Or what will happen to my existing ERP if it doesn't run and all? So initially HANA was used with analytics by SAP's promotion. Like you use it with bots. If your reports run, that is fine in real time rather than you're getting your reports daily to next day. And SAP was used to say like we'll give the reports immediately in real time. If you like it, use it. If not, that's okay. You can stop my box and we'll give the server on cloud. If you don't like it, you can stop it and you can continue using your old business objects on Oracle or SQL, whatever it is running. And it is only pulling the data from ERP. So we can have multiple analytical systems in the landscape. So that's how HANA was primarily initially used by the leadership team, C-level teams like CEOs, CIOs, and these guys were using it to get the reports and data in real time, which they usually used to wait for the next day. Like for example, you and me are a competitor. You are using HANA, I'm using boards on some other database, you are using boards on HANA. We are going for a bid, and that bidding requires analyzing our historical data or some data in our server. And I am waiting for my data till tomorrow morning, wherein you are using HANA, you got your data immediately after 5 minutes or 10 minutes or within 3 minutes, and you made a bid. And the bid is closed, you won the bid. I lost my business. Like this, there were many instances. These were like, proof points from SAP, but survey done by third party, and 21% of average increase in revenue was seen by SAP. Like once HANA was successful with bots and analytics, they started promoting HANA with ERP powered by HANA. So slowly customers started using HANA with ERP. And this was also really successful. And by then SAP has wiped out the ERP component and they built a new component of ERP. S4 HANA, ERP for HANA kind of thing. And in 2015, SAP declared notification. So we are good now. We tested that our primary products are working on HANA, and from 2021 we will not support SAP applications on third-party databases. Somehow that got extended now, and it will not get extended anymore further. So these are the 2 points, and SAP has given enough time to customers, close to 12 years, asking them, all of them, to migrate onto HANA, and they have to migrate now or later. But what is this hardware and in-memory costing and all? Yes, in-memory initially, as there were very few people who were manufacturing memory, in-memory databases, in-memory hardware. So it was a bit expensive. Now it is not. And that's how with this capabilities we have cloud, on-premise and all. We'll discuss all those topics as we progress. And these are the selected initial hardware partners. Now all hardware partners are providing HANA certified appliance as well as HANA TDI, like custom-made hardware for the customer to reduce some cost. Like you can pick your pieces of hardware, what CPU, what memory you want, and that is called TDI. So IBM, HP, Fujitsu, Dell, NEC, and Hitachi were the initial partners. And these guys will pay the loyalty share to the SAP. Not only these, whoever is selling SAP certified appliances, they have to pay the loyalty share to SAP. And at any moment, SAP HANA team will be concentrating on R&D of hardware as well as database. And any changes it feels it needs updation in the hardware, it will do it, and it will roll out a circular, and these fellows have to follow it. The same teams who will update SAP, like how 500 GB in memory is possible. Now they are only manufacturing hardware as per the directions of SAP. So this is a commitment of SAP as a product company to bring in best out of best cutting edge solutions to its customers. And it is a progressive manner. It is standing as a global leader for past 50 years, and still it will be there. So these are the basic requirements. If you are planning for an ERP to be run on HANA, it should be minimum ERP 6.0 HP6. If it is less than that, it has to be upgraded and migrated, and business objects 4.0. And for other products, it should be NetWeaver 7.0, EHP2 and above release. Like we can use HANA with any SAP product. And these are the reportings which are coming in built with S/4HANA. Like earlier for these financial reports, sales reports, we used to have a separate BW system. Now without a separate BW system, you can get the reports. And this is a cockpit tool. We see all this. I'm just highlighting the advantages which come with HANA. We see all these things in practicals. This is called HANA cockpit, where you can do the DB administration from a click of a URL from any system in your landscape or your system or with the VPN. You can see all things in a cockpit: used memory, CPU, disk usage, alerts, and all. It's called tenant DB administration. Doing the administration of all non-production databases. Like for example, you have ERP and CRM, all your development and quality systems, 4 databases running in a single host of non-production database host, where the administration reducing the cost on operating systems, number of machines and all, without reducing the cost on virtual licenses and all. We can have it at one place, all with the tenant DB administration, and having all the production DBs running in one DB host. We'll see these concepts in the tenant DB administration, and we'll be doing creation and backup recoveries of this tenant databases in the cockpit live. All this will be done in practicals as we do in a real-time situation. And we'll also see what is suit on HANA, what is suit for HANA for people from and with and non-SAP background. We'll have one dedicated session to understand the naming convention, what is R2, R3, ERP, what is suit on HANA, what is suit for HANA, understanding its differences and its journey. So these are the topics. Any questions? You may ask me, or can get in touch with our coordinator who contacted you. S/4HANA covers both ERP and BI together on one system, meaning OLTP and OLAP on same system or two. Yes, OLTP and OLAP on the same system with S/4HANA. And business intelligence is for business objects. Yeah, business objects still runs as a separate system because business objects is used with to bring in data and reports from SAP and non-SAP applications. Yeah, you can use business objects with HANA as a backend database as well. But with S/4HANA, you don't have to use a BW. I'm talking about BW. BW ABAP. Yeah, any other questions?
Sudhakar, this is Adi. I have a couple of questions, not on the subject matter, but on the schedule part of it. The initial, I mean, I couldn't able to hear the audio on my computer. That's how I logged into the phone. How exactly the course is scheduled? Like, it's like only weekends or?
As of now, we're staging this Monday to Friday. We do have weekend and weekdays batches. This is going to be a weekdays Monday to Friday. It's morning 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. IST time. So basically, it will be session would be for 45 minutes and another 50 minutes for buffer. So put 1 hour aside.
Okay, 1 hour session. So
And
like
30 days. 30 days, and it gets completed in 30 days. And
okay.
that session duration goes somewhere between 22 to 30 hours. Includes practicals, live installations, and everything. During installations of Cockpit and upgrade of HANA and all, we may stretch a little bit to 10 to 20 minutes here and there. We'll keep you informed before day when we're performing an upgrade or installation class to make yourself available.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be covering the cloud and on-premise concepts. We'll be seeing the differences: what is cloud, what is on-premise. Where it is cloud or where it is on-premise, the administration approach is same. We'll be seeing that, highlighting that differences. Yeah, our team will you can get in touch with Mr. Koti. He would share the recorded session.
So that how would be the career for HANA?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat it again?
How would be the career for S/4HANA admin?
S/4HANA admin, yeah. See, it will be like, any profiles that as I have mentioned, they can precisely pretty good. They can learn HANA admin because there's a lot of demand for HANA admins in the job market. At the same time, you need to commit, like, you may know your background, like you're from SAP background or non-SAP background.
Non-SAP.
Non-SAP in the sense, what is your experience?
I'm into middleware, IT only, but middleware.
Middleware, is it development or administration?
Both development, support, administration, all I have.
Okay. So if you're into administration, you can relate yourself to this topics and all. So any person with administration background, they can gel pretty well with this HANA administration module. And at the same time, like if you are more like a coder and all, as I already said, like it doesn't go well because you will be working as an admin for not only a single product. There are about 50 plus products in SAP's portfolio. Once we go through this course, we'll be in a position to work on any SAP product which is using HANA. And HANA is used as a backend database not only with SAP but also with non-SAP products. Like you might have heard of Big Data. It's a world #1 analytics tool. Like SAP is #1 in ERP. In analytics, Big Data is #1. Big Data was using open source database Hadoop. Now they are using HANA for their hard data. I mean, for processing the data in real time. So like this, many products are using HANA. So we can have a career as a HANA DB admin or as a HANA admin with SAP. And it is very progressive. Like, SAP comes up with a new innovative products all the time. And you can keep on upskilling your skills, and which gives a pretty good career. And at the same time, you should do all the practicals. There should be a commitment from your end and a focus. And we are covering everything. Like, we're covering all the topics. We're giving certification guidance and everything. If you're certified based on the location that you are, if you're based out in US and the UK, the certified professionals are preferred. And yeah, I'll be one-on-one seeing your profiles. I'll be giving your resume, sample resumes, to build your resumes, and the market is good. I wouldn't say like you would get immediate job, like I'll give a job guarantee within 1 month and all. But the market is good. It depends on the individual as well, how you learn and how you place yourself in the job market, building and projecting your profile. Any
So
questions?
they said no prerequisites to learn this is for HANA, right?
No prerequisites, not needed. People basically say like you learn basis, then HANA and all. It is just like, milking the people to push them into two different courses. Absolutely not needed. This is a combination of basis and HANA together. If you just learn this course, this should be enough.
So you are planning for 30 hours. How many days? So that
30 days.
30 days. Daily 1
Yeah.
hour. Yeah, per
Yeah.
day.
This includes your practical support after the classes, also practical support and all. I'll be showing you the installation practicals, and you will be doing the practicals. When you're doing practicals, when you're stuck on the server and all, I'll be helping you out wherever you're stuck to proceed with the installations and updates and backup recoveries, whatever practicals you do. The theory classes comes to somewhere close to 20 to 25 hours. The remaining hours comes for practicals.
Is there any plan if anyone wants to spend more time and to complete it early?
Spend more time?
Yeah, more time to complete it early in 15-20 days like that.
No, we cannot have. We don't have any fast track batches as of now, because that will hamper the quality. See, whatever we can eat in a day meal, we can eat that much only. We cannot consume a 3 days meal in one meal or a one time in one shot. So this course it needs time. So don't, if somebody is offering also, don't go that way. Yeah,
No. Yeah, it's not like that. Learn language in 30 days. To read 3 books in 10 days, we will complete.
This is completely new concept and a next generation database, and there are new things which we have never seen. Even for a basis guys with SAP experience, HANA is completely a new dimension. So it takes time, and it needs your time to understand it and spend time for practicals and all.
Oh, okay. And HANA and S4 HANA both are different?
Both are different.
Oh, okay.
Okay, right then. Thank you all.
Hello.
Our sessions would be starting from Monday, and
Hello.
payment confirmations are expected by Sunday at the most. So you can get in touch with the coordinator for further details. Yeah. If someone was asking something.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah. So the entire HA 240, 250 and all the course content will be covered in the practical sessions.
Yes. See, entire course content in the sense we have about five PDF documents. that will precisely go up to 3,000 to 4,000 pages. We'll not be going by one topic opening the PDF book, but will be the hand-picked topics as per the real-time job market requirement, whatever is done in real time, what are authentic topics which are needed are 100% covered. There will be certain bookish topics which are not relevant in real-time cases would be skipped. But whatever is
Okay.
given in the skill sheet would be covered.
Okay, because as per the course content, I have seen it. So
Yeah, as per the course content, yeah, you'll have 150 topics. All the 150 topics would be covered.
okay. Right. The server will be provided by you people for practicing, or we have to take it separately?
The course fees includes everything. The server will be provided by us.
Okay. What
Session
will be the
materials,
course?
server access, everything.
Yeah, what will be the course fees?
You have to speak to the coordinator on that.
Okay.
Speak to the coordinator who has given you the details, who mailed you and who approached you.
Because I just got a link over the WhatsApp group. We are in a HANA WhatsApp group, so I haven't got anything. But however, while for joining the session, I have given my details over there.
Yeah. Our coordinator will get in touch with you then.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Okay. Okay. Thank you all. See you on Monday then. Thank you.